to this kind of mindset, which is not healthy, but they do. So whatever they get prompted into believing happened, that's what went on. He's a bad guy, let's get him. Well, that's not what the American system is about. We have due process because a lot of times people make mistakes, and we don't want lynch mob activity to control the outcome of criminal proceedings because it's too easy to use those political proceedings for those criminal proceedings for political purposes. In New York, they've got a long history of that. Tammany Hall, which used to run New York back in the 19th century, they had a habit of, when they wanted to win an election and somebody was getting a little too dangerous, they'd have him arrested 2 or 3 days before the election or in the critical part of the campaign season. And they'd try to lock him up incognito or incommunicado so nobody could get to them and they would be able to control the outcomes. See, that kind of thing we don't want to have happen. The other thing, too, is they're conditioning the American public to an erroneous idea of what American law is. Now, Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution says the president, vice president, if impeached and convicted of bribery, treason, or misdemeanors and felonies in office, may be removed from office. And the 12th Amendment says, if so convicted, they can never run again. So they were so anxious with Trump that they forgot this old adage, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. What did they do? Well, they impeached Donald Trump when he was president of the United States, but they weren't able to get a conviction. When he was no longer the president of the United States, they went after him, and guess what? They didn't get a conviction either, but what the dumb bozos did is they set up a precedent that says, oh, well, whoopee, you can impeach somebody and convict them purportedly and get them forbidden under the 12th Amendment from holding any other office for stuff that happened at a time they had an office, but you can proceed against them when they no longer had the office. Now, give you an example of how stupid they were and wasted the taxpayers' money. Let's take round one. They said Trump obstructed Congress. That's the easy one. They said he abused his authority. Neither one of those are bribery. So that's out. Treason is the only crime defined in the Supreme Court, in the U.S. Constitution. It isn't even close. Crimes and misdemeanors in office? Well, there's no such crime as abusing and exceeding authority. So that's out. How about the one obstructing the will of Congress? Well, aside from the point that any time a president vetoes an act that Congress has passed, and remember, Congress consists of the House and the Senate. So when this one went over, that's obstruction, I guess, but in this case, it went to the Senate, and these dumb bozos in Congress thought in the House of Representatives, one of the chambers of Congress under the first Article 1 of the Constitution, where it says Congress of the United States shall consist of two houses, the two chambers, the House of Representatives and the Senate. So when it sent it over, they thought of themselves as congressmen because that's how they're described in the newspapers. So maybe their will got obstructed, but the Republicans in the Senate, which they controlled at the time, they simply said, hey, anybody in here feel like they got obstructed? The majority said no. Well, that's out of there. So if you don't obstruct both houses, you can't do that. But it wasn't any offense anyway. So it was dead on arrival, but they were dumb enough to go that way. And they got a lot of the public all ramped up thinking that was officially wrong. It's not. Now, let's look at the recent furor with Mar-a-Lago. Trump is supposed to have had secret documents at Millargo. Oh, open to lack of security. Well, the same Secret Service that was guarding him in the White House was guarding him at Millargo. These same documents were prepared for his examination and his guidance as two things: Chief Executive Officer of the United States of America, that's not really the one, but as Chief Diplomat under the Constitution and as Commander in Chief of the military. What does that mean? Well, the case is United States Department of Navy, 1988 versus Egan, E-A-G-A-N, E-G-A-N, excuse me. And it had multiple concurring opinions, and some of them say the President of the United States can and may declassify any document he chooses or classify any by any means, manner, or fashion he chooses, including, I guess, removing them from the White House, which he is alleged to have done when he was the president. But the president has that authority under the Constitution. Okay. Now, is he going to go tell foreign agents? Well, once he read it, if you were a smart man, you don't forget what you read. You don't need to document. Okay.